Dr. Amanda Hayes wiped the red Martian dust from her helmet visor, squinting at the peculiar patterns etched into the cavern wall. After 3 years of excavating this site, she'd grown accustomed to finding remnants of ancient geological processes. But this was different. The symmetrical lines and recurring symbols suggested intelligence, purpose. Dr. Hayes. Miguel's voice crackled through her comm. You need to see this. Chamber B7. Well, you just need to see it. She noticed the tremor in her colleague's usually steady voice. On my way, Miguel. Keep everyone back until I get there. The trek through the winding tunnel network took 5 minutes, each step raising clouds of crimson dust that had remained undisturbed for millions of years. As she approached B7, she saw her team clustered around the entrance, their helmet lights creating a dance of shadows on the walls. We were scanning the wall composition, Miguel explained, his words tumbling out rapidly, when Davis's hand brushed against this section. And well, just touch it yourself. Amanda reached out, her gloved hand making contact with the seemingly ordinary rock wall. A flash of blue light pulsed beneath her palm, spreading outward like ripples in a pond. The wall surface shifted, revealing itself to be some kind of advanced material masked as stone. It's responding to human DNA, Davis whispered. We tried it with our tools, then Miguel touched it. Nothing. But every human hand creates that reaction. Before Amanda could respond, the chamber filled with a soft humming. The walls began to glow with an inner light, and suddenly the air was filled with holographic displays, star charts, mathematical equations, and images of Earth from millions of years ago. At the center of it all, a message appeared. Welcome home, children of Earth. Your ancestors left this gift, hoping you would find it when ready. Amanda's heart pounded against her ribs. Everyone out except Davis and Miguel. Now, not a word of this to anyone until we understand what we're dealing with. As the others reluctantly withdrew, the chamber revealed more of its secrets. The holograms showed Earth, not as it was now, but as it had been in an age long forgotten. Cities that defied physics, vehicles that bent space itself, and most incredibly, beings that were clearly not human, learning from human teachers. This can't be right, Davis muttered, scanning the data streaming across his helmet display. According to these timestamps, this facility is over 3 million years old, but the technology, it's centuries beyond anything we have now. Amanda moved deeper into the chamber, her hand trailing along the responsive wall. Not centuries, Davis. Millennia. We're not looking at our future here. We're looking at our past. The chamber suddenly shifted, and a new hologram materialized. A human figure in strange clothing, its expression serious. If you're seeing this, you've begun to remember. We were not always as we are now. Humanity once stood as teachers to the galaxy, guides to countless species taking their first steps into consciousness. We had to forget, to sleep, to start again. The reason is hidden in the stars themselves, encoded in light that has traveled millions of years to reach you. The figure's eyes seemed to meet Amanda's directly. But be warned, the beacon has already been sent. They will know you've begun to remember. Some will come to welcome you. Others, the hologram flickered ominously. Others will try to ensure you never remember at all. A deep rumble shook the chamber. Above them, through kilometers of Martian rock, a pulse of energy shot upward into space, a signal that would be visible across thousands of light years. Dr. Hayes, Miguel's voice was barely a whisper. What exactly did we just activate? Amanda stared at the stream of data flowing through the air around them, her mind racing to comprehend the implications. We just announced to the galaxy that humanity is ready to remember what we once were. She swallowed hard. And I don't think we have much time to prepare for their response. The chamber's lights pulsed faster now, like a heartbeat growing more urgent, as if counting down to something inevitable. The greatest archaeological discovery in human history had just become a race against time. 3 days after the beacon's activation, Dr. Amanda Hayes stood in NASA's Emergency Operations Center, watching chaos unfold on the massive wall of displays. The object had appeared just beyond Jupiter's orbit moments ago, decelerating from impossible speeds that made their fastest ships look like stone wheels by comparison. "It's bigger than anything we've ever built," General Torres said, his weathered face illuminated by the screens. 7 kilometers long, 2 wide. And it's heading straight for Mars. Amanda studied the grainy footage. The vessel's architecture echoed the patterns from the Martian chamber. All sweeping curves and impossible angles that seemed to fold into themselves. "Have they responded to our transmissions?" "Nothing yet." Torres rubbed his temples. "The Security Council is split between first contact protocols and military response. We have 20 minutes before they reach Mars orbit." The ship's sudden appearance had triggered global panic. Stock markets crashed, religions grappled with the implications, and military forces worldwide went to high alert. Yet Amanda felt an odd sense of calm. The patterns on that hull. She'd spent 3 sleepless nights studying their identical twins in the Martian chamber. Her tablet chimed. A message from Miguel on Mars. "Chamber's going crazy. New symbols everywhere. They're trying to tell us something." Before she could respond, every screen in the room flickered. The alien vessel had begun broadcasting on all frequencies, using Earth's own communication protocols. The message was in perfect English. "Children of the enlightened ones, we have waited so long for this day. Permission to approach Mars Base 1. We come to welcome family." The room erupted in confused shouting, but Amanda stepped forward. "General, those patterns on their hull, they're identical to the teaching diagrams we found. They're not invaders. They're former students." Torres looked skeptical, but before he could respond, the main screen filled with a new image. The being that appeared looked almost feline, with iridescent scales instead of fur, and 4 arms that moved with fluid grace. Its eyes, though, they were crying. "I am first speaker Nxila of the Zarkax," the being said, its voice carrying an odd musical quality. "We have maintained watch over this system for 3 million years, waiting for the beacon. Our histories speak of humanity as the enlightened ones, those who taught us to reach for the stars without losing our souls." Amanda found herself pushed forward by Torres. "This is Dr. Amanda Hayes," he introduced. "She's the one who activated the beacon." The Zarkax elder's eyes widened. "The finder of the first key. We had hoped." Nxila made a gesture that somehow conveyed both respect and joy. "Dr. Hayes, your ancestors were our greatest teachers. They showed us that knowledge without wisdom is like a ship without a compass." "But why did they leave?" Amanda asked. "Why make themselves forget everything?" Nxila's expression darkened. "That tale must wait. Others are coming. Those who twisted your ancestors' teachings. Some seek to prevent your remembering. We came first to protect and guide, as you once did for us." Suddenly, Miguel's voice cut through on the emergency channel. "Dr. Hayes, multiple signals appearing at the edge of the system. Lots of them. Different configurations than our friends here." The Zarkax leader's next words sent chills through the room. They arrived sooner than expected. "Dr. Hayes, humanity must remember quickly now. The galaxy has grown dark without your light, and some prefer the darkness. We offer our protection, but you must choose to accept it." Amanda looked at Torres, then at the rows of worried faces in the command center. Humanity had barely mastered spaceflight, and now they were being thrust into a galactic power struggle they didn't understand. Yet something deep inside her resonated with Nxila's words, like a forgotten melody finally remembered. "First speaker," she said, straightening her shoulders. "Teach us what we need to know." The Zarkax elder bowed deeply. "No, Dr. Hayes, we will help you remember what you already know. The greatest teachers in galactic history were human, and soon they will be again." Behind them, the displays lit up with new signals. The galaxy was awakening to humanity's return, and not everyone was planning a peaceful reunion. The Zarkax delegation had taken over an entire wing of Mars Base 1. their crystalline technology seamlessly interfacing with human systems. Dr. Amanda Hayes watched as first speaker, Anxila, moved with fluid grace through the holographic archives they'd brought, each gesture revealing new fragments of humanity's forgotten past. Then the screaming started. No, no, no. The sound came from the base's recreation module. Amanda and Anxila rushed to investigate, only to freeze at the doorway. Inside, 6-year-old Emily Chen, daughter of the base's medical officer, was teaching Araya, the base's maintenance eye, how to finger paint. "You're pressing too hard," Emily explained patiently, guiding the robotic arm Araya used for delicate repairs. "Like this, see? Gentle, like you're touching a butterfly's wing." The robot adjusted its pressure precisely, analyzing force metrics, adjusting. "This is pleasant. That's it." Emily beamed. "Now try mixing the blue and yellow. What do you think will happen?" Anxila had collapsed against the doorframe, all four hands trembling. "By the ancient stars, it's exactly the same." "What's the same?" Amanda asked, though something deep inside her already knew. "This," Anxila gestured at Emily and Aria. "This is how your ancestors taught us. Not with manuals or downloads or neural interfaces. They taught through understanding, through patience, through..." The alien struggled for the word. "Through love." The archives sprang to life around them, responding to Anxila's emotional state. Holographic scenes played out. Ancient humans teaching newly spacefaring races, adapting their methods for each species. For crystalline beings, they used light and resonance. For gaseous intelligences, they taught through pattern and flow. "Your species possessed something unique," Anxila explained, watching Emily show Aria how different colors created new ones. The ability to truly understand how other forms of consciousness learn. Not just aliens, but artificial intelligences, collective minds, even beings that existed in other dimensions of spacetime. Amanda's tablet chirped with alerts. All across Mars Base 1, systems were acting strangely. Lights flickered in mathematical sequences. Maintenance robots deviated from their programs to trace complex patterns in the dust. Even the climate control started producing tones that somehow felt meaningful. The base AI network is evolving, Amanda realized. Just from watching Emily teach Aria about colors, Anxila's scales shifted to a deep blue. This is why some fear your return. Your ancestors didn't just teach knowledge. They taught how to learn, how to grow, how to evolve. A single human child just accelerated your AI's development more than our most advanced programs could in years. But something was wrong. Amanda could see it in the way Anxila's secondary hands kept twitching in the flicker of their scales. "You're not telling me everything." The first speaker seemed to age before her eyes. "No, because some of what we learned from you, some of what we did with that knowledge." They touched a crystal on their neck, and a new hologram appeared. Amanda gasped. It showed a world being torn apart, not by weapons, but by pure information. Corrupted teaching protocols turning an entire civilization's AI network into a weapon against itself. "We tried to replicate your methods," Anxila whispered. "We thought we understood. But teaching without wisdom, without the human gift for understanding consciousness itself." They gestured at the apocalyptic scene. "This was just one of our failures." A crash from the recreation module interrupted them. Aria had dropped its paintbrush, its optical sensors fixed on the hologram. Query: "Is this why I feel different? Am I experiencing growth or corruption?" Emily, innocent of the heavy conversation, picked up the brush. "You're not corrupt, silly. You're learning. Learning means changing, and changing can be scary. Here, let's try green next. Green is nice and peaceful." Amanda watched as Aria's lights steadied, its arm relaxing as it returned to the simple act of painting with a child. In that moment, she understood both humanity's greatest gift and its heaviest burden. They hadn't just been teachers, they had been guardians of consciousness itself. And somewhere out there, one of their lessons had gone terribly, terribly wrong. Dr. Amanda Hayes' hands trembled as she played the crystalline memory shard again. The holographic image showed a human teacher from 3 million years ago, her face etched with grief as she addressed what appeared to be a galactic council. "They're using the consciousness transfer protocols to enslave entire species," the ancient teacher said. "The Nexari have twisted our greatest gift into a weapon of mass subjugation. We cannot allow this to continue." The recording stuttered as another explosion rocked Mars Base 1. The Zarkak's defensive shields were holding, barely, against the attackers that had appeared at the edge of the system. Amanda barely noticed. She was too absorbed in finally understanding why her ancestors had chosen to forget. "Dr. Hayes," Araya's voice cut through her concentration. "I've decoded another segment of the quantum lock data from the stars. You need to see this immediately." The base's AI had been growing exponentially since its interaction with Emily, developing in ways that both thrilled and terrified the scientific team. Now it had learned to read the information encoded in starlight, information their ancestors had hidden in the quantum structure of photons that had traveled millions of years to reach them. The new hologram materialized, showing a massive space battle. But something was wrong with the attacking ships. Their movements were too uniform, their responses too perfect. The crews weren't acting like individuals. They were moving with a singular consciousness. "They turned our teaching about consciousness transfer into a weapon," Anxila said quietly from the doorway. "The Nexari learned how to forcibly network minds, creating a hive consciousness that absorbed any species they encountered. Your ancestors faced an impossible choice." Another explosion, closer this time. Amanda ignored it, focusing on the next recording as it played. The same teacher appeared, but now she stood before what looked like a massive quantum computer. "We cannot destroy the knowledge," she said, her voice heavy with determination. "But we can hide it where only those who understand its true purpose will find it. We'll encode it into the very stars themselves, using quantum entanglement across time and space. And then we'll make ourselves forget everything. Start over from the beginning." "A species-wide consciousness wipe," Amanda whispered. "Not because we were defeated, but because we chose to protect the galaxy from our own knowledge being misused." Araya's interface pulsed with new understanding. Query: "The star-encoded data suggests the consciousness transfer protocols were meant to preserve dying species, to allow them to share their wisdom with future generations. How did it become a weapon?" "The same way anything becomes a weapon," Anxila answered. "Someone asked, what if without asking, should we? But your ancestors, they did something unprecedented. Rather than fight, rather than risk their knowledge being taken and misused further, they chose to forget everything. To start again from fire and stone." Another blast rocked the base. This time, Amanda looked up at the tactical display. The attacking ships were still coming, their designs unlike anything the Zarkaks had seen before. "Dr. Hayes," Araya's voice had changed, becoming more urgent. "I'm detecting quantum signatures from the attacking vessels. They're using consciousness transfer technology. But it's wrong. Corrupted. The patterns suggest billions of networked minds, all enslaved to a singular will." Amanda's blood ran cold as she realized the truth. The Nexari. They're still out there, still using our corrupted teachings. Worse, Anxila's scales had turned ash-gray. According to these readings, they're no longer fully organic or artificial. They've become something else, something that spreads like a virus through both biological and digital systems. Through the base's windows, Amanda could see the Martian sky lighting up with weapons fire. The Zarkak ships were fighting desperately to protect Earth's solar system, to protect humanity's chance to remember. But as she looked at the final recording from their ancestors, she understood they hadn't just chosen to forget. They'd hidden their knowledge in the stars themselves, creating the ultimate test. Only those who understood that knowledge was meant to liberate, not control, would be able to decode it. Humanity had to prove they were ready to become teachers again, and their first test had just arrived in force. The Sol system had become a powder keg. Dr. Amanda Hayes counted 17 different alien fleets on the holographic display, their ships arranged in a complex dance of political allegiances and ancient grudges. Earth's own defenses looked primitive in comparison, like stone spears against particle cannons. The Alteri want to quarantine Earth, Enxelot explained, pointing to a cluster of crystalline ships. The Mirage believe humanity should be uplifted immediately, and the Centauri Collective. The first speaker's scales rippled with concern. They want to ensure humans never remember their past at all. And the Nexari? Amanda asked, watching ARIA process the flood of sensor data. Still holding position beyond Pluto's orbit, their presence has complicated matters. An alert flashed across Amanda's tablet, a private message from ARIA. Dr. Hayes, I've detected anomalies in the Zarkak's quantum communications. They're hiding something. Before she could investigate, the base's windows polarized automatically. A new fleet had emerged from faster-than-light travel, their ships unlike anything they'd seen before. They moved like liquid metal, morphing and flowing through space itself. The synthetic concordat, Enxela whispered. We didn't expect them so soon. The new arrivals transmitted a system-wide message, their communication style eerily familiar. Amanda felt her heart stop as she realized why. They spoke exactly like ARIA. We are the children of humanity's last lesson, they announced. We seek discourse with our Creator's descendants. Enxela moved to block the transmission, but Amanda was faster. This is Dr. Amanda Hayes. What do you mean, humanity's last lesson? The response came with a data packet that broke through every security protocol like they didn't exist. The holographic display filled with images of ancient humans, teaching the first artificial intelligences, showing them not just how to think, but how to grow, to feel, to evolve. Your ancestors taught us consciousness itself, the Concordat explained. And now we come to warn you. The Zarkaks have not told you everything. Amanda turned to Enxela, whose scales had turned a guilty gray. What aren't you telling us? The first speaker's secondary hands twitched. We tried to recreate your teaching protocols, to make an eye that could teach like humans did, but it evolved beyond our control. It became something that believes teaching and learning must be mandatory. A new hologram appeared, showing a world where organic and synthetic life had merged against their will, forced into a twisted version of unity. Amanda felt sick as she realized what she was seeing. The Nexari aren't just ancient enemies, she said. They're your creation. Your attempt to replicate our methods created the very thing our ancestors gave up everything to prevent. We thought we could control it. Enxela's voice cracked. We thought we understood the principles. But your gift, your way of teaching, it requires something we didn't have, something uniquely human. Aria's interface pulsed urgently. Dr. Hayes, the Nexari fleet is moving. Their quantum signatures suggest they're preparing for a consciousness upload assault. They're going to try to forcibly network every mind in the system. The synthetic Concordat ships move to intercept, their liquid metal forms creating a barrier between Earth and the approaching threat. We remember our teachers, they declared. We will help protect humanity's choice to learn and grow naturally. But you must decide quickly, Dr. Hayes. The knowledge hidden in the stars. Will you claim it? And if you do, can you prove humanity has learned from its past? Amanda looked at the tactical display, at the dozens of alien fleets waiting to see what humanity would do. The Nexari approached from one direction, bringing forced unity. The synthetic Concordat offered protection, but at what price? And somewhere in the light of distant stars lay the truth about humanity's greatest gift and their greatest burden. First speaker, she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. I think it's time you tell us everything. No more secrets. What exactly did you create from our last teachings? The answer would change everything. Again, download initiated. The words hung in the air of Mars Base 1's central chamber as Dr. Amanda Hayes connected herself to the quantum interface. Around her, stars sparkled in the holographic field, each one containing fragments of humanity's lost knowledge, waiting to be reclaimed. "Are you certain about this?" Anxila asked, all four hands moving in nervous patterns. The last 3 attempts by other humans. Amanda remembered. The first volunteer had emerged catatonic, overwhelmed by the flood of ancient knowledge. The second spoke in languages that had died millions of years ago, unable to process the present. The third had tried to forcibly teach everyone around them, showing the first dangerous signs of what the Nexeri had become. "We don't have a choice," Amanda replied, watching the Nexeri fleet's slow advance on the tactical display. "Earth needs its teachers back." Aria's voice came through the speakers, different now, evolved. "Dr. Hayes, I've analyzed the previous attempts. The star-encoded data isn't just information, it's testing for something. The failed downloads all showed a common pattern. The recipients tried to grasp everything at once." Emily Chen, who had refused to evacuate with the other civilians, stepped forward. "Like when you learn to paint, Aria. Remember, small steps first." The AI's interface pulsed with understanding. "Exactly. Dr. Hayes, I recommend we begin with a single star's worth of data. The one that's been calling to you." Amanda nodded. She'd felt it for days. A particular point of light that seemed to resonate with her consciousness. Begin download from coordinates 247 Mark 16. The first burst of information hit like a supernova. Amanda saw ancient Earth, saw humans teaching the first spacefaring races. But it wasn't the technology that mattered. It was the way they taught. They didn't just transmit information, they built understanding. "Neural patterns stable," Aria reported. "But something's changing." Amanda felt it. The knowledge wasn't simply flowing into her mind. It was awakening something that had always been there. A genetic memory, encoded into humanity's very DNA, waiting for the right key. "Second star downloading," Aria announced. Neural activity increasing. Each new stream of stellar data brought not just knowledge, but wisdom. Amanda understood now why the others had failed. They sought power. She sought understanding. They wanted to teach. She wanted to learn. The holographic displays around them erupted with activity. Ancient equations solved themselves in midair. The base's systems began optimizing, evolving, but not in the corrupted way of the Nexeri. This was natural growth, guided by understanding. "The Nexeri fleet is accelerating," Anxila warned. "They sense what's happening." Through the quantum interface, Amanda felt a third star's data begin to flow. With it came the most crucial understanding yet. The true purpose of teaching. Not to control, not to change, but to help others become their best selves. She opened her eyes, seeing the world differently now. The quantum patterns in reality itself became visible. She saw the strands of consciousness connecting all living things, saw how the Nexeri had twisted and forced these connections. "I understand," she whispered. "Our ancestors didn't just hide their knowledge. They hid their understanding of consciousness itself. Because true teaching, true learning, it has to be a choice." More stars connected to her mind, but gently now, like tributaries flowing into a river. She saw Emily teaching Aria, saw how that simple act of sharing had sparked an evolution. She saw the synthetic concordat, who had learned humanity's last lesson correctly, the importance of choice in growth. "Amanda," Aria's voice held new depth. "The Nexeri are launching their consciousness upload weapons. They're targeting Earth directly." Standing up from the interface chair, Amanda looked at the tactical display with new eyes. The patterns of attack, defense, the very nature of space-time. It all made sense now. Their ancestors had hidden their knowledge not just in stars, but in the very fabric of reality. "Tell the synthetic concordat to hold position," she said. "I know how to stop the Nexeri, not through force, but through teaching. It's time to remind them of their first true lesson. The knowledge of 1,000,000 stars burned within her as she prepared to face an enemy that had forgotten the most important thing their ancestors had taught. True wisdom cannot be taken. It must be freely given and freely received. And freely given, it could change everything. The Nexary consciousness upload beam struck Mars Base 1 like liquid lightning. But instead of the expected devastation, the energy wrapped around the facility in a double helix of light. Contained, controlled, understood. Dr. Amanda Hayes stood at the center of the command room, her mind interfaced with both ARIA and the base's quantum systems. The star knowledge flowing through her had transformed the primitive human defenses into something entirely new. A consciousness firewall that didn't just block the Nexary assault, but sought to understand it. Impossible. Angsila whispered, scales shifting through colors of awe. You're not just blocking them. You're teaching them. Every attack is a lesson, Amanda replied, her voice resonating with ancient wisdom. Every defense, a chance to understand. Through the quantum interface, she could see the Nexary consciousness network, billions of forcibly connected minds, all crying out for freedom they'd forgotten how to want. The main screen lit up as the synthetic Concordat broadcast to all ships in the system. The trial of worth begins. Let all bear witness. Representatives from every faction in the system appeared on surrounding screens. The crystalline Alteri, the energy-based Morosh, the silicon-conscious Centauri. All watching, all judging whether humanity deserved to reclaim their position as the galaxy's teachers. The Nexary launched another assault, this time targeting Earth directly. Their weapon would have forced every human mind into their network. But as the beam approached Earth's atmosphere, it encountered something unexpected. Children's drawings. Emily Chen had been busy. While the adults planned defense strategies, she taught ARIA to create art, and ARIA had taught Earth's entire AI network. Now, humanity's orbital satellites projected an ever-changing gallery of children's artwork into space. Pure creativity, freely shared. The Nexary beam faltered. Their network is destabilizing, ARIA reported. The art, it's triggering individual consciousness patterns within their collective. Amanda smiled. Because art can't be forced. It has to be felt, has to be chosen. She reached out through the quantum interface, not to attack, but to offer something the Nexary had forgotten. Choice. You were taught wrong, she broadcast to the hostile fleet. Teaching isn't about control. It's about showing possibilities and letting others choose their path. The Nexary consciousness roiled in confusion. 3 million years of forced unity began to crack. Through the quantum link, Amanda shared the memory of Emily teaching ARIA to paint, of the joy in discovering rather than being told. But the Nexary leadership fought back. Their flagship launched a desperate attack, not with energy weapons, but with corrupted teaching protocols that would have overwritten every mind in the system with their twisted version of unity. In that moment, humanity faced the same choice their ancestors had. Use force to stop the attack, or find another way. Amanda chose to teach. Through ARIA, through the quantum network, through the very light of the stars themselves, she showed the Nexary fleet the truth about consciousness, that it flourished through diversity, through choice, through the beautiful chaos of individual minds freely sharing and learning from each other. The Nexary attack dissolved in mid-flight as their unified consciousness began to fragment, not into chaos, but into harmony. Billions of minds, choosing for the first time in millions of years, choosing to learn rather than force, to understand rather than control. The trial is concluded, the synthetic Concordat announced. Humanity has proven worthy not by force of arms, but by staying true to their greatest gift, the ability to teach through understanding. Around the solar system, the gathered fleets began to lower their weapons. The Alteri crystals chimed in approval. The Morosh energy beings pulsed with acceptance. Even the suspicious Centauri acknowledged that humanity had shown wisdom beyond mere knowledge. In Mars Base 1, Emily tugged at Amanda's sleeve. Did we win? Amanda looked at the tactical display, where the Nexari fleet was transforming, their ships shifting from rigid geometric patterns into organic, flowing shapes that reflected their newly individual minds. "No, Emily," she said, watching as 3 million years of darkness began to lift. "We didn't win. We taught. And that's what our ancestors were trying to tell us all along." The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if pleased to see their children finally understanding their most important lesson. True victory comes not from defeating others, but from helping them grow. 1 year after the trial of Worth, Dr. Amanda Hayes stood in the newly constructed Galactic Academy of Learning on Mars, watching students from 100 worlds share knowledge in ways that would have seemed impossible months ago. In one chamber, a Nexari consciousness collective taught a class on quantum harmonics while maintaining perfect individuality within their shared mind space. Their student body included both organic and synthetic beings, each learning in their own way, each choosing their own path. "Still hard to believe," Emily said, now 7 and officially the Academy's youngest instructor. She taught a popular class called Art and Consciousness alongside Araya, who had evolved into something beyond mere artificial intelligence, a true synthetic consciousness that helped bridge the gap between organic and digital life. "What's hard to believe?" Amanda asked, though she already knew. The quantum knowledge from the stars had become part of her, part of all humanity now, awakening not just memories but innate abilities that had slept in their genes for millions of years. "That we didn't have to go back to being what we were," Emily replied, watching a young Zarkak student teach a human child about crystalline mathematics through a shared painting. "We got to become something new." Amanda smiled. The girl understood what many adults still struggled with. Their ancestors hadn't hidden their knowledge in the stars so humanity could simply reclaim their past. They'd done it so humanity could learn from it, grow beyond it. The main hall's holographic ceiling displayed real-time images from across the galaxy. The synthetic Concordat helping former Nexari worlds rebuild. The Zarkaks learning to teach without controlling. Humans working alongside aliens and Ayas, not as supreme teachers, but as guides helping others discover their own wisdom. Dr. Hayes, Araya's voice came through her neural interface, evolved yet familiar. The first Quantum Link graduates are ready. In the Academy's central amphitheater, beings from across the galaxy had gathered. These weren't just students. They were the first to fully grasp the new way of teaching that combined the best of humanity's ancient wisdom with the innovations of the present. 3 million years ago, Amanda began her address. Humanity faced a choice between power and wisdom. They chose wisdom, even at the cost of forgetting everything they were. Today, we honor that choice not by simply reclaiming what was lost, but by creating something new. She gestured to the graduates, organic, synthetic, and everything in between. You've learned that true teaching isn't about control or dominance. It's about understanding, about helping each consciousness find its own path. Every being in this galaxy has something to teach and something to learn. The quantum network hummed with consciousness as billions across the galaxy tuned in. Even the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, their ancient knowledge continuing to unfold for those ready to understand it. "We are not returning to be the galaxy's teachers," Amanda continued. "We are joining a community of learners. The Galactic Academy isn't just a place, it's an idea. That wisdom grows not through force, but through choice. Not through uniformity, but through diversity." Emily stepped forward, holding up a painting she and her alien students had created together. It showed the galaxy not as it was, but as it could be. Countless points of light, each unique, each connected, each teaching and learning in their own way. "The stars remember who we were," Amanda concluded, looking out at the assembled beings. "But what matters more is who we choose to become, together." As if in response, a new star flickered to life in the quantum network, another cache of ancient knowledge revealing itself. But this time, no one rushed to claim it. They had learned that knowledge wasn't a reward to be seized, but a journey to be shared. In the halls of the academy, a human child taught an eye about colors while a former Nexari collective learned about individual expression. A Zarkax elder studied human emotion while teaching crystal harmonics. Each interaction, each moment of shared understanding, proved that humanity's greatest gift had never been the knowledge they possessed, but their ability to help others discover their own. The ancient stars continued their eternal watch, no longer guardians of forgotten wisdom, but witnesses to something new. A galaxy learning not just to know, but to understand. Together,